KBRI Den Haag. Kali ini kita akan mengunjungi Museum Spoorweg di Utrecht, Belanda. Museum ini lebih dari sekadar museum kereta api loh. Museum ini adalah tempat menarik untuk belajar tentang bagaimana kereta api mengubah dunia. Museum ini memiliki banyak koleksi, mulai dari lokomotif, gerbong, model skala, mesin uap, lukisan, hingga bahan kereta api dan benda-benda lainnya. Tahu nggak sih kalau museum ini memiliki beberapa koleksi yang berkaitan dengan Indonesia? Indonesia dan Belanda memiliki hubungan sejarah perkereta-apian yang panjang. Sebagian besar jalur kereta api di Indonesia saat ini dibangun pada masa penjajahan antara tahun 1864 hingga 1942 dan dikelola oleh perusahaan-perusahaan kereta api Belanda. Pembangunan stasiun dan sarananya pada zaman Hindia Belanda melibatkan para insinyur dan arsitek Belanda, sementara sarananya juga memanfaatkan rolling stock dari Belanda. Sejak pembukaan jalur pertama pada tahun 1867, jaringan perkereta-apian di Jawa perlahan-lahan berkembang pesat. Nah, penasaran kan dengan cerita lengkapnya? Yuk, kita berkenalan dengan Mr. Peter Paul de Winter yang akan menjelaskan koleksi apa saja yang dimiliki Museum Spoorweg.
Welcome in the Dutch Railway Museum here in Utrecht, the center of Holland. In this museum we are telling you the story about the history of the railways in the Netherlands. So we start at 1839 and we continue it till now, and as I personally always say, every day is a new page of the history book of the Dutch railways. So we're also making a small line to the future. We tell the story about the history of the Dutch railways, and that doesn't mean we are a company museum, but we are telling the history of everything what happened in Holland with railways. Not trams, not industrial trains, only the trains, the normal, as we say it, the normal trains. Okay, we have in our museum we are showing part of our shared history, because you might know that in the history we have also built railways in Indonesia, and for instance here I'm standing in front of a model of one of the is a tram, unfortunately, but it's so beautiful that we consider this as one of our most beautiful parts in the museum. A model of a train which has been built by Bijns. Bijns is a company, one of the companies who built trains in Holland. We have Bijns, Werkspoor and Allen. Bijns built these coaches who are built here, and this is a train for the Semarang Sherry-Bomb. Excuse me if I'm not using the right word. The Semarang Sherry-Bomb steam train company, and what they did mostly, if they had a big order, they built a model to show the direction of the company. Look, this is the train which you are going to get. And this train is a very more beautiful model, beautiful details inside. You can see everything what was built and used for this train. We have more models, and we have also a big one-to-one scale train. Sri Gunung is in our museum. We are very proud that it was given to us by the Indonesian government as to describe the good relation between the two countries, and we're very proud that we have this beautiful engine in our museum. But we have also some models of other coaches. Also, we are keeping in our museum, in our library, many books, information, maps containing the construction of the railways. We have a beautiful collection of pictures of building the railways from the first beginning, that you see nothing, only a field with workers in it, till the pictures of just 1-2 days before opening the line. We have them all, and we also share them with the museum in Ambarava. We have good contact with them, and of course if we can help them, we like to help them, and we are sending them the requested information.
Wah, Ternyata banyak juga ya koleksi di museum ini yang memiliki sejarah dengan Indonesia. Salah satunya adalah kereta ini. Ini adalah lokomotif listrik pertama yang diuji cobakan di Indonesia.
This is the first electrical locomotive of the Dutch railways. It has been developed just before the start of the Second World War. It has been ordered, and during the Second World War, the delivering of these trains was shifted backwards to after the liberation of Holland, 45. These locomotives is a co-development of a Swiss company and the Dutch railways. And the first 3 locomotives are built in Switzerland, and the other 7 were built in Holland by Werkspoor here in Amsterdam, Utrecht. First electrical locomotive, if you look to it, if you see, it's more or less a steam locomotive, and that was exactly the problem. The engines were very good, they were very fast. First they thought they could drive 175, 180 kilometers per hour, but there were so many problems of the wheels were not working very well, the engines were trouble, the electrical engine, so they brought the speed reduced to 110 and later on to 60 kilometers, and these locomotives were used till half 80s only in pulling freight trains and not any more passengers. One of the main big issues was also always the problem with the bearings. They were plain bearings, and they get dry and they were heated, and then the trains had to stop to repair it. But it's the first big step, because it's interesting to know that in the 30s, already in the 30s, the Dutch railway company was finding out what could be the future development, the future solution for pulling trains, steam locomotives, diesel locomotives, or electrical locomotives. So they compared them to each other. The steam and the diesel locomotive was running in Holland, but the electrical locomotive was running in Indonesia. There was the test track, and there they learned that the electrical locomotive was the most efficient way of pulling trains. And that's why the management of the Dutch Railways decided we must turn over into electric trains. That's the future. And this is the first beginning of it.
Koleksi Museum Spoorweg yang paling menarik adalah lokomotif yang diberi julukan Sri Gunung atau Bergkoningin dalam bahasa Belanda, yang berarti Ratu Pegunungan. Tahu nggak? Ternyata lokomotif ini digunakan untuk mengangkut barang di sepanjang jalur pegunungan di Jawa. Pada tahun 1981, pemerintah Indonesia menyumbangkan lokomotif ini ke Museum Spoorweg sebagai tanda persahabatan.
This locomotive, Sri Gunung, is a gift from the Indonesian government to Holland, to the Dutch Railways Museum, and it's kind to understrive the good long-term relation between Indonesia and Holland, and of course we are very proud and happy that we have this. In 1982 it was given it was transported from Indonesia to Holland and put in the museum, and I've done some small research. As a matter of fact, here you see, I don't know if you can see it, here's when it was in the museum. So this is the museum director when it was given. It's not so clear, sorry, it's a bad picture. And then it was on another location, and there was also a book. It was, the locomotive has been built by Werkspoor, and there's a book called The Locomotives of Werkspoor, and it's one of the, it's not the Sri Gunung, it's one of the, many of the locomotives were shipped to Indonesia, and it's one of the locomotives in Indonesia, and of course this engine is also in it, with a ship.
With a ship.
Yeah, it was also when it was built here in Amsterdam, it was also shipped by boat to Indonesia, and the return was also by boat. It was not possible. It's not possible because you have to cross somewhere the sea. So it's not possible to drive, and also this has the track width is smaller of this locomotive. This is a special locomotive called a mallet locomotive, and the specialty of the mallet is that it has a truck, first part trucks, which can move a little bit. Normally you must look. There are many axles. There are 2 times 3 axles, and they're all in a line. Then the locomotive is a little bit difficult to make turns. And especially in Indonesia, it was used in the mountains and so with small tracks and many curves. These times locomotives, because of the first truck, it could turn, so it could make stiffer turns to go upside or down in the mountains. And it was also a very strong locomotive, and was also interesting or very important was for this locomotive. It has 2 sets of bringing the steam power to the wheels. First part, these 3 under the locomotive was the high pressure part, so the steam which was produced in this boiler. First go to the high pressure set, so for these 3, and then the steam was reused for the first part, first 3 axles, low pressure part, and so also all the axles were driven by steam, and gives the locomotive more power because you get the power on all the wheels and not on just a few. You have also locomotives which a few wheels, axles are driven by steam, and the others were just for the weight of the locomotive and a little bit keeping the locomotive into the track.